Like, honestly, it's just so easy. Like, if I did this, and I go in my cupboard, and I grab out, hang on, Protein Joy, 100% protein, you have to think to yourself, wait a minute, maybe it's not actually protein. Simon Miller, the bald asshole here. Sometimes people say, Simon, why do you call yourself a bald asshole? Well, I'm bald, and I'm an asshole. And that's how we got here today. Don't have a go at me. My parents said it to me for so many years, I started to believe it. That's not true. They're very lovely people. I totally understand why people get conned by the fitness industry in 2020. It's because health and fitness basically blew up a few years ago and it became popular and it became quote unquote cool. And all of a sudden all these companies jumped on it and they were like, look, we can just make protein things and people will see the word protein and then no one actually looks at the back of the box. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through 10 things that you just need to ignore. Don't eat them. Well, you can eat them if you want, but just be aware of what you're eating and what you're digesting. And please know that just because somebody slaps those Protein 6, whatever it is, six letters, I'm a moron, 6 letters on the front of a box doesn't mean that it's filled with protein. Here we go. Number 10 is protein cereal, but I want to focus on protein Weetabix. Just because look, I like Weetabix, and Weetabix is a healthy meal. But when they start telling you to get the protein version, and then you actually look at the back of the box, it's like, this is ridiculous. It's absolutely obscene. Because look, here we are. We'll go by 100 grams, because that just makes it a hell of a lot easier. If you have 100 grams of quote-unquote Weetabix protein, it's 365 calories, it's 62 grams of carbohydrates, 2.4 grams of fat, and it's 19 grams of protein. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, wow, 19 grams of protein. However, normal Weetabix is 362 calories, 69 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fat, and 12 grams of protein. So when they're talking, I love it. When they're talking about the protein they've put in there, they're talking about 7 grams. 7 grams of protein. Now, look, if it's going to help you get an extra 7 grams in your diet and you're going to have, going to have Weetabix anyway, then why the hell not? But to me, it's just such a con. Like, it's such a con. It's just trying to trick you. Like, oh, it's magical protein Weetabix. It's healthier for you than the other kind. But that's just not the case at all. And also, how can you call anything, this is the real problem, how can you call anything protein when we're talking about the 3, proteins, fats, carbs, these are the 3 major macronutrients. It should be called Weetabix carbohydrate because it's the most dominant factor is the carbs. Because some people will buy it and go, wow, this is 100% protein because it says protein Weetabix on the front or Weetabix protein, and it's just not the case. And this is the same with all those cereals, almost every single one. Check the back of the box. All they would just snuck some whey protein in there, like a magician in the night. Don't know what that means, but magician in the night, like, and they would have just. That's all they've done. That's all they do. Number 9 is peanut butter. Now, peanut butter kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap because, look, if you're going to eat it, it is full of good fats. You just need to watch the calories because it's massively high in calories for obvious reasons. The issue we have when we're talking about protein related to peanut butter is exactly that. People are using it for a protein source and you probably shouldn't. Because again, we'll go by the 100 grams. If you have 100 grams of peanut butter, which you should not do because that is way too much peanut butter, there's 643 calories, 7.4 grams of carbs, and 54.3 grams of fat. And sure, the protein is 27.7 grams, but once more, you should not be using that for a protein source because the fat is taken over. It's like the NWO. But the NWO, we're taking over. That's what it's doing.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
It basically almost has double the amount of fat, which is fine. If you're having it for healthy fats or you're trying to bulk up and you just need calories, double thumbs for you. You go whoop that peanut butter's ass. But I guess this is the majority of this list, is a lot of people will just read on a website or hear in a video, oh, peanut butter is a great protein source. It's not a great protein source at all. It has protein in it, but there is something else that is massively going to dominate it, and you just need to know this stuff. It's important. Number 8 are bad protein bars, because actually Grenade have smashed it now, and you can buy them in the likes of Tesco and I don't know, Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer's, even service stations, you can find them. But I am talking about the healthy bars that try to pitch themselves to you as a protein bar as you're walking around your grocers and you just see the word protein. We're going to take this one, which is the Nature Valley Protein Peanut and Chocolate Bar. And I'm not saying that there are certainly worse things you can eat. But if you have one bar, so that's 40 grams, it's 198 calories, there's 12 grams of fat, there's 9.6 grams of carbs, and there's only 10.2 grams of protein. So once again, we're talking about a bar that has 2 more grams of fat that it has protein, but ain't no one calling it a fat bar. Like, that is like, no, you want to buy this fat bar? Oh, yeah, that's really what they should call chocolate bars, fat bars. But you wouldn't because nobody's going to buy it. But that's my problem with these things. You may just, I'm repeating myself, but you may just see it and go, and you're eating it and then you're getting fat and you don't understand why. And it's because you are essentially eating a fat bar. Like, just because they added more protein in it, I do understand, but I find it, flabbergadoo that they just think it's okay to do this because protein has become this magic buzzword. That's the thing. I've talked about it before. It's like Elmo. Word of the day is friendship. Like, friendship. And here it's like, word of the day is protein. And you just think everything you see, that's not a protein bar. Like, good protein bars have more protein in it than anything else because the clue is in the name. Number 7 is edamame beans. And look, edamame beans are a fantastic source of protein. Like, they really, really are. But this is just a quick one. They are also riddled in soy, and that can kind of screw around with your estrogen levels dependent on how sensitive you are to that stuff. I stay away with them for that reason. My body doesn't like that kind of thing at all. But soy protein is an interesting beast. If you can handle it, that's cool. But again, I find it's just bad for me. It's just bad for me. So I wanted to put them in there because, again, there was a time where I just saw edamame beans. Oh, wow, loaded with protein, which they are. But yeah, it's the soy part which is the issue. If you're cool with it, fine. I like it. Number 6 are these protein balls that you can buy. Now, I don't mean that in a disgusting way. I'm not talking about testicles for the immature people in the comments. They are basically companies that make balls that I was 12 that, they try and sell them as like energy balls. However, look at the Bounce Almond Protein Energy Ball. I'm not trying to single these people out. There's loads of them. It's 45 grams for one ball. It's 190 calories. It's 8.5 grams of fat. It's only 11 grams of protein, which is low. And then the carbohydrates are 17. And this kind of makes sense, right? Because it's selling itself as an energy ball. And how do you get energy? Well, carbohydrates are a damn sure good way to do that. But they've still snuck the word protein energy on there. And it's not a protein energy ball, it's a carbohydrate energy ball. But once again, carbohydrate, bad word, protein, good word. So that's how we separate the two. Imagine I had done that to you, came around my house, and I said, I'm going to sell you, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something amazing. I'm going to sell you Wizard, we talked about Wizard before. I'm going to sell you Wizard Energy, and then you come round and I sell you dog energy. You're like, but I don't want dog energy. I'm like, yes, but now you're here. You'll get like 2% dog energy with my wizard because he can turn into a dog for like 5 minutes a day. However, for the majority, he's going to be a wizard. You're like, but I don't want a wizard. Like, yes, but you'll forget. That's not how this stuff works. That's not how stuff this works. If you're looking for energy, you want carbohydrates, you snack on that and you snack on it all day long. But why is that word protein in there? Who let it in? It's like a burglar that has broken into your house and is stealing your gains. You need to kick his ass. Number 5 is any kind of protein flapjack. Like nearly any single kind. I'm sure you can find the exception, but I looked at loads. And once again, you just get nonsense like this. There's 50 grams in a bar, or so I should think. But either way, energy 227 calories, carbohydrate 21.9, fat 11, and protein 9.2. So despite it being a protein flapjack, it is less in protein than the other ones. But I see it all the time. I see people reaching for them in whatever, supermarket you use, and you say, oh, wow, I can't believe I can have a flapjack, and it's healthy, and it's wonderful. Now, you can determine what is healthy and what is not, but what it certainly isn't is a protein flapjack. Again, someone just stuck some protein in there, because of course it is going to be made from oats, and oats do have protein, but then they've just pushed it up using, usually soya crisps is what they use. Everyone loves these soya crispies. It's like, oh, let's do a dance around the crispies. But there are so many other things. You just buy a pack of chicken. Like, why haven't we got to the point where chicken just says protein flakes? That's what we may as well do, and at least that one would be real. Number 4, carrying on from that, any kind of protein cookie. Yes, I'm sure you found an amazing one, but just look at this. Now, I'm going with this one because it's the type you will find in your standard, your standard shop. If you go online, I'm sure you can find better ones. But it is Protein World Slender Cookie Mix. So they've even got the word slender in there. It's a mix. So they're not even giving you the cookie, they're asking you to put effort in, and per cookie, as prepared according to them, is 110.4 calories, 5.3 grams of fat, 17.7 grams of carbohydrate, and are you ready for this? 3.9 grams of protein. 3.9. I get more than 3.9 grams of protein by breathing in oxygen. I mean, that's not true. There's no protein in the air, but it's as good as. Think how many. Imagine you wanted to have a 30-gram meal. What do you do? Smash 10 plus cookies? Of course you're not. It's just absolutely unreal. That's a trick. That is a trick. That you may as well have someone knock on your door and go, look, I've got this pyramid scheme where you can invest loads of money, but I'm just going to tell you now, if you look on my back, and he turns around and on the back it just says, I am a liar. That's the equivalent of this, but you just need to turn it around and look. And also, again, they're asking you to make it. So not only are you wasting your calories, you are wasting your time. Number 3 are protein yogurts. Now, this one is a little bit more difficult because protein yogurts are decent to a point. Again, we'll go through the macros in the sec of one of them. But when you have 0% Greek yogurt that is amazing for calories and protein, it's like, just see that one and just scoop in some protein if you want taste to it. Because, look, check this out. So I've gone with the Arla Protein Blueberry. Per pot is 200 grams, 124 calories. It's 0.4 grams of fat. It's 10.6 grams of carbs, and it's 20 grams of protein. That's actually really, really, really decent, and it is kind of similar to what you'd get in 0% fat Greek yogurt. However, it's really expensive compared to 0% fat Greek yogurt. So that one, it's not so bad, but I find sometimes people gravitate towards that kind of stuff when really it's based in something else. So they're not so bad, but they get a little mention here for different reasons, but at least they're doing it right. 20 grams, a lot of protein. Number 2 are protein nuts. And this one is very personal to me because during a time when I wasn't calorie counting, it's a good few years ago, I wasn't calorie counting as much as I should. I saw, it said protein nuts. I was like, oh, sweet. I fell into this stupid trap because I wasn't thinking. My brain wasn't activated. We'll take these ones from Graze, and this kind of ties into peanut butter. However, they are called Nutty Protein Power. That's what it says on the front. Even got the word punch to make you feel all manly. But if you had a 29-gram portion, which I'm going to presume is what they recommend, it's 174 calories, it's 14 grams of fat, it's 6.4 grams of carbs, and it's also 6.4 grams of protein. Now, look, nuts are kind of decent for protein, but as we were talking, they're more of a healthy fat source. Why aren't they called healthy nuts? And why aren't they called fat nuts again? Imagine they were called fat nuts. I mean, talking about the immaturity from earlier, you're not going to be able to sell fat nuts unless you're down some kind of seedy alleyway and somebody is really horny and wants to get stuff done. There is no such thing as protein nuts. They just do not exist unless you are a weird person and therefore a nut and you enjoy drinking a lot of protein. And number 1, to tie all this in, it's basically any kind of mainstream product that puts protein on the front of its packaging is 9 times out of 10 not actually protein. One last example. Because we will take these protein rice cakes with pea and lentil. All sounds la-di-da. Gonna have a lovely time on Sunday with Aggie. But per cake, you have 31 calories, you have 0.5 grams of fat, you have 5 grams of carbohydrate, and you have the rollicking good amount of 1.8 grams of protein. 1.8 grams. It's protein nothing. And if you like rice cakes or Snacker Jacks or anything like that, just enjoy them for what they are. But it's not where you should be getting your protein sources from. That's the major thing I wanted to get across with this video, because you may be, again, you got to track your macronutrients and your calories, and you should be weighing your food. But some people don't. And some people think, well, I must be getting enough protein in because I had my protein rice cakes, or I had my protein nuts, or I had my protein bar that's actually a fat bar. You don't know. And why would you know? It's so easy to buy into this stuff, especially when you start your fitness journey. You do need to educate yourself. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that's true. I do too. I still try and do it every single day. I don't know everything. You know, I watch other YouTubers. I'm like, really? Is that true? And I realize I've flubbed, other areas of my own life up. So be really careful with this stuff. There are companies online, obviously the big sports nutrition companies that will give you a decent protein, whatever. But always figure it like this. If you want a cookie, no company is going to design a quote-unquote healthy or protein cookie that doesn't at least resemble a normal cookie, because then why even develop it in the first place? The whole point is they're trying to find this happy middle ground, and 9 times out of 10, it doesn't exist. And there you go, a bunch of protein stuff that you need to stay away from. Hopefully that's helpful. I try my best. Like the video, share the video, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, ding, ding. Got merchandise, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. Flex's tees sold out, but coming again soon. So I'll make sure I get some kind of pre-order thing up there so I can get them out as soon as possible. On Instagram and Twitter at SimonMiller316. And otherwise, you have yourself lovely days. It's now the weekend, or it starts tomorrow, Saturday. I'm very excited about this week's Sunday is Dumb Day video. It's the stupidest thing I've done in probably a good 2 years, but I do it for you, and I'll see you soon.